So Darius Bazley is 19, and he last played for Princeton High School in Cincinnati, Ohio. He's 6'9", was a 5-star prospect after graduating in 2018, according to the 247 composite. Means he's in the same class as many of the 2019 first-rounders, including Zion Williamson, Barrett RJ, see what I did there, and Bol. He committed and then decommitted from Syracuse, and this is where it gets wonky. After turning down offers from Ohio State, Syracuse, Cincinnati, Florida, Georgetown, he signed with Rich Paul of Clutch Sports. We're going to talk about him at length, who set him up with an internship to end all internships at New Balance. So Bazley's getting paid $200,000 in base salary annually over 5 years, assuming he's on an NBA roster in his second year in the league, and each season thereafter, according to his agreement with New Balance. The internship was part of a multi-year shoe contract that could pay Bazley up to $14 million if he reaches performance incentives written into the contract. So this ain't go over well with the Walt Kowalskis of the world, notably Syracuse coach Jim Boeheim. When he heard Bazley had done what he did, he told Stadium's Jeff Goodman, LeBron did a nice job helping his client. It is LeBron's client, right? He later said he wished Bazley well and he apologized to Rich Paul and whatnot, but we know how you really feel, Jim, and I have no plans to get off your lawn. As an intern, though, Bazley spent 3 months learning the business. He lived in Boston for that time. He worked out and trained there, and he began learning a business he actually enjoyed, and that's key. He learned what goes into making a shoe. He learned how to storyboard for it, how to pursue the right athlete to rep the brand, how to roll out a strategy and execute it, and he got a front row seat to that as Kawhi Leonard is repped by New Balance. All of this is why the NBA is expected to drop its one-and-done rule in 2022, eliminating the workaround that prevents teenage ballers from getting loot ASAP. But you're like, RJ, the hell is the intern doing to work on his game? Well, he worked out with Raheem Shabazz in Memphis during the fall, and he stayed with noted shooter Mike Miller and his family to work on his jumper until his winter internship started up, which is why you're hearing so much about a 6'9" dude being a shooting guard. Now, Miller's trying to put you on game. He said Bazley went and stuck to a very strict schedule over the course of his lead up to the draft. He said Bazley went and he got up at 6 a.m., did his workouts. Then at 11, he got more workouts. He had meals at a place where he could put on some weight. So you heard about his wiring, and Patrick put together that really cool cut. So, like, he did this on his own. So there's your work ethic. There's your self-starting. And that is unique. Yeah, okay, but then my man Fran Fraschilla, who knows from Ballers, said Bazley got bodied at the Nike Hoops Summit last year. Now, Fran said he was totally overwhelmed. Not so much athletically, but just physically and from a maturity standpoint. And remember, Fran Fraschilla coached Ron Artest, so he knows what physicality looks like. So that's why many people have said Bazley is destined for the G League. He needs to develop. He needs time to develop, which brings us back to why Scared Money, that'd be Sam Presti, drafted him in the first round in the first place. We all know the Asgardians, that's a Thunder reference, needed a shooter sharper than Heimdall's sword. We know this. So why did Scared Money trade down for an athletic wing? An unpolished Paul George who couldn't hang in the Grandmasters contest if Hulk was only allowed to fight him with his knees. Now, aren't the Asgardians in win now mode? Isn't that what it's supposed to be? Or are they looking to wait until they get the hella treatment from the West? No, they're burning down Rome mode. That's what they're in. And Scared Money is holding the fiddle. We'll see what other moves he wants to make, and we're going to get into this deeper later on in the show. But Patrick, first, did I tell you something you didn't know about Bazley?
I'm trying to Google Heimdall's sword here. I'm sorry.
Idris Elba's character
yeah.
in the Thor movies, dog.
Yeah, no, I got that now. Again, like you said, I like the work ethic stuff. That's a big thing for me because, look, that's what I thought. I know you're not high on Zion. One thing you can say about him, he does have a work ethic, and that's been a knock on a lot of guys who have gone number one. But I liked, I was not aware of that the work ethic that you pointed out, the routine of his regiment, trying to get better. It's a unique path, and look, again, there's people who said, as we know, this was a guy who was a top 10 recruit. This is a guy that if he went to college might have been a high pick. So definitely value for the Thunder, and looking long term. And as we've said, this is a time when this is their window. This is when they need to win, and this seems like more of a long-term type pick or a long-term type move.
Which means that the team that you thought was built to compete in 2018, the team that you thought was built to compete in the 2018-19 season, is no longer going to be the team you see. And I don't know how to feel about that, as you went out on a limb to go get Paul George and to keep Jeremy Grant so that you could do what the Raptors did. And by the way, they did it with one max player on their roster. So it's not as if by remaking the roster you can't compete. But there is a reason for why we call this a star-driven league. And Darius Bazley, who doesn't really have film at all, and who everybody wants to believe is coming in the best condition possible to make a mark during Summer League and possibly make the roster, is that dude even going to be – is he going to be worth the time and the effort as you're going to try to put him out there with what? Some variation of Pat Patterson, Ray Felton, or Juwan Evans if you want to keep him on. Who knows? And what? Nerlens Noel's going to walk? Like, what are you going to put out there as your second unit? And if you expect this dude to lead your second unit as a scorer, along with, say, Dennis Schroeder, I got to believe you don't really expect to compete very well this year. If anything, you're probably going to look at fans and go, yeah, we tried, we failed, we got bounced in the first round, and then we tried and we failed, and we got bounced again by Logo Lillard. So now we have to blow it up and rebuild because, yes, the small market stuff matters right now because you can't do what the Lakers can do. You can't go out there and pay the bill. Not the way you've been paying the bill. It is untenable to go into the repeater tax, even as they looked dead in the eye and said, should we go into the repeater tax? With this roster? No! And then you trade it down. So you saved yourself maybe $800,000 over the length of Darius Bazley's contract. That is a drop in the bucket when you're talking about $150 million in salary.
Are you listening?
Build an argument. This is Sports Talk Radio, not your daddy's Facebook page.
Damn.
And Rich Paul has had a hand in that. Now, I've said it once and I will say it again. Rich Paul runs your NBA and he's not letting up. And there's reasons for this. I mean, Paul saw his childhood friend and his childhood friend's girlfriend gunned down, and that changed his focus from getting out to, like Tech 9 yelling, forget everybody but me. He told S.L. Price in a really great feature, Sports Illustrated, how do you go from hood to Hollywood? You don't, right? So the discredit, the disrespect is the one thing I'm not going to tolerate. Nino Brown couldn't have said it better himself, okay? Bishop in Juice couldn't have said it better than himself. And when you're like, hey, why are we talking about LeBron's man Rich, RJ? He's only put on because LeBron is on. Yeah, right? But then, in January, Anthony Davis told the New Orleans Pelicans not only that he wouldn't sign a 5-year, $240 million Supermax extension with the team this summer, but also that with a year and a half left on his contract, he wanted to be traded. Then Rich flexed harder than the rich homie Quan by making this trade demand public. Gave it to Woj. Woj tweeted it out. Woj did what he does. And that move basically got a general manager fired. I'm going to say it again. That move basically got a general manager fired. Now, we got scared money in a room with Rich Paul again. Peep game, though. Why is that important? Rich runs Clutch Sports, which means he's negotiated more than $625 million in contracts for his clients that include Bron, Anthony Davis, Miles Bridges, Eric Bledsoe, Draymond Green, of course Darius Bazley, then Terrence Ferguson, then Nerlens Noel, then Markieff Morris. Of his 28 total, 1/7 are on OKC's roster. Hello? Now we got to talk about Rich like we talk about David Falk. Now we got to talk about Rich Paul like we talk about Arn Tellem. Like we used to talk about Rob Pelinka. Like we talk about Scott Boras. Old heads will brush you up on this. Arn Tellem single-handedly steered Kobe Bryant to the Lakers in '96. David Falk brokered the 12-player, 4-team deal in 2000 that sent Patrick Ewing from New York to Seattle. This ain't new. This is you. This is folks who wanted to hold up the NCAA as worthy in a way that y'all held up Daenerys Targaryen as the worthy person to be on the Iron Throne. Rich Paul isn't Jon Snow. That's not what I'm saying. He is one of thousands of dragons here to burn your house down, though. Let there be carnage to the system and build a new world upon its ashes. Rain firemen. This world is yours. Rich Paul is just doing what the ball players want him to do, and the ball players want agency. They want to be able to say, I want to work for this boss. I don't want to work for that boss. They want to be able to say, I want to play with these players. I don't want to play with those players. The NBA, as it is put together now, is about player collusion. And I'm here for it because these men have said to you, I don't care about the money. I have enough money. I am a contractor anyway. I got to pay taxes on all of this. I got to pay my agent. I have to pay my accountant. I have to buy my home. I have to sell my home. I got to put the homies on. Okay, I got to make sure that these tickets get doled out. I am a brand, yes, but I am an industry too. I have to take care of me and my well-being. And you'll find that us millennials and the Gen Zs following me, we're not about the loot, man. You know, there's only so much you can get in this world. And once you have enough to be comfortable, and you have enough in savings, I'm at a credit union, I'm at Red Crown Credit Union right now, so I'm thinking about savings. You know, I'm thinking about mortgages. You know, I know the difference between escrow and escargot. That's what it is now. You want to be comfortable. You are less enthused with just getting all the money that you can and more enthused about, hey, is this a good place for me? Am I happy? Because as the old heads would like to tell me, life's too short. The old heads will tell me, hey, man, do what you love. Do what makes you happy. Yeah, okay, cool. But while I'm doing what I love and doing what makes me happy, I want to be happy when I'm not doing it. Dr. J actually said this. Julius Erving. Being a professional means going to work to do what you love on the days that you don't want to do it. And if you get to say, I don't want to play for a bottom feeder, I don't want to play for a cellar dweller, you're going to look for an agent who's going to get you what you want. Because as much as many people want to say that LeBron told Rich Paul to go get Anthony Davis told Rich Paul to go get me LeBron James. Don't get it twisted. His job was to get Anthony Davis what he wanted. It worked for him that LeBron James wants to play with Anthony Davis. All right? But let's not make this about Rich Paul, even as Rich Paul is the prophet. To date, y'all remember World Wide West a few years ago. He was the prophet. To date, I just schooled you on Arn Tellem. I just schooled you on my man Scott Boras. I just schooled you on David Falk. Agents are in it for their clients. Just like Red Crown Credit Union is in it for you. You walk through the doors, they go try to hook you up. Because at the end of the day, if you're not happy, what did they really just do? You don't want to come back and give anybody your business that doesn't make you happy. So I'm all for Rich Paul getting everything he can for his clients while getting a little bit for himself because he did come from nothing. He did come out the mud. I feel that in my bones. Many of you have listened to me since I was on a piece of cardio equipment yelling about Baker Mayfield planting the flag. You know what the come-up has been like. So when I see these sorts of things happen at this grand stage for folks like Anthony Davis, I'm going, yeah, because depression is real. And if you could go somewhere that makes you happy, be happy, dog. I mean, hey, look, Patrick.
Yeah.
Am I wrong here, man?
No, and you're dead. You're dead on about Rich Paul playing chess when I'm playing checkers because I don't know how to play chess. But great piece in The Ringer, and it's a conspiracy theory about Space Jam 2. Hey, guess who's in Space Jam 2?
Klay Thompson, Dame Lillard, Diana Taurasi, although she would make a great Laker. They could probably not afford her.
Yeah.
I can keep going. You want me to keep going, or you want to tell me?
How about Anthony Davis?
With
LeBron.
Serve that up.
And about how maybe, just maybe, with Rich Paul kind of orchestrating this is a way to get around the salary cap and to get guys maybe to play with LeBron. And it talked about, Michael Jordan's agent, as you alluded to earlier. Space
David
Jam.
Falk,
yeah, Space Jam was a brainchild of his. But it was interesting, and a lot of the guys who were in Space Jam were also his clients. So it kind of goes along the lines of you talked about Rich Paul, behind the scenes. It's not even behind the scenes pulling strings. He's out in front of everybody pulling strings. And maybe do they try to use this to stack up the Lakers?
Well, again, stack up the Lakers with what? And that's kind of been the question. Stack up the Lakers with what? Because you actually do have to have 12 men on the roster to, field a team in the NBA. They got rules against you having less than that. So if they pull what they did last year and get even worse parts because they got two dudes there that are going to get paid, then what do they really do? The Lakers are fascinating, if for no other reason than I'm not sure if Rob Pelinka knows what he's doing, and yet I don't think that it matters because nobody is more, shall we say, cash rich, liquid in the NBA than the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, in many ways, we have the modern NBA because the Los Angeles Lakers willed it into existence. I think about what we're talking about and building out the roster, and then I go back to it wasn't that long ago that Joey Crawford used to call timeout so he could go get a sandwich or a hamburger or a hot dog and have a cigarette. I mean, that used to be the NBA. The NBA changed when Magic Johnson showed up, played for a championship-winning coach, and said to Dr. Jerry Buss, I don't want to play for Paul Westphal anymore. And then you got Pat Riley. Or the fact that you can be a player and you can complain in such a way that you can get your mans like Stan Van Gundy up out of there. Think about how much agency Dwight Howard had when he went behind Stan Van Gundy's back to move him. And then with a straight face said, which one of y'all is talking noise about my coach? And you saw Stan Van Gundy just mugging him. Just mugging the hell out of him. And we was all mugging with him. So I'm looking at it going, yeah, okay. You got these dudes in Space Jam, and I get that it's a marketing ploy, and I get that your children are going to make you go see that movie in the same way that they're going to make you go see the movie that you're trying to wreck my childhood with Lion Kings and Aladdins, and I'm boycotting them. I'm not here for it. Robin Williams is the genie. Will Smith is in Bad Boys 2. He's the Fresh Prince. Don't mess up my childhood. But that's what I'm saying, though. You're using the same tricks they were using 20 years ago. Like, this is not new, folks. But if it's still working on you, then it's still working on you. Just go in there with your eyes wide open saying that you want to be tricked. You showed up to the magic show so you could be deceived. Don't tell me that is real magic, though. That's what I'm getting at here. That's exactly what it is here.